I told you before the family owed you a great debt. Now I'm in a position to make you whole. My respect, my gratitude, whatever that means to you, you have it.
Man of Honor revitalizes the return trip to early 1900s Sicily with a fresh perspective, meaningfully building on the original campaign. Mafia: The Old Country eschewed its predecessor's open-world bloat to deliver a tightly focused, mostly linear crime drama built around Enzo Favara's gradual rise through the Torrisi crime family's ranks. Since its post-launch free ride expansion, belief that Sicily had room to grow beyond the main campaign came to the fore. So enter Mafia: The Old Country, Man of Honor, an expansion set to build on the original systems without reinventing them outright. By expanding each location's meaningfulness, plus introducing new characters, story chapters, and demanding missions, Valle Dorata now has more compelling reasons to return than ever before. Here are 8 of the strongest ways Man of Honor builds on the base game's foundations.
We'd risk war with the Spadaros over a kid.
The great risk would be allowing our enemies to overstep without consequence.
It fills in an earlier chapter of Enzo's rise. Throughout Mafia: The Old Country, you watch as Enzo Favara slowly earns his place among the Torrisi crime family, rising from powerless laborer to an authority within the syndicate. He proves himself through difficult choices and unwavering loyalty, and by the end of the campaign you experience the consequences of those decisions. Man of Honor takes a different approach to the Old Country central narrative by visiting an earlier point in Enzo's journey. Its new story chapters slot right into the aftermath of Enzo's initiation, fleshing out a timeline the original game only alluded to. Winding back to an earlier stage of Enzo's career has the potential to give greater context to his eventual evolution, adding weight to the events, relationships, and compromises you know from the base game. Salieri expands the base game's Mafia legacy. The Old Country establishes the Torrisi family as one of Sicily's dominant criminal organizations, operating through strict hierarchical honor and loyalty to maintain influence over the local rackets. Man of Honor brings a familiar figure into the fold, a young Enzo Salieri, operating like Enzo through the same criminal system. Again, like Enzo, he's carving his own reputation, long before building his own empire in America. During Man of Honor's timeline, Don Torrisi sits comfortably at the top of the family, with the ambitious Salieri gradually rising to replicate the Don's power overseas. Salieri is an important arc, reinforcing how interconnected the series' wider history is, without leaning simply on nostalgic fan service. Free Ride is becoming more than a post-campaign distraction. Free Ride, the post-release expansion which replaced Explore mode, already gives you the opportunity to explore Valle Dorata outside of the main campaign. Its optional combat encounters, stealth missions, and racing events serve as welcome deviations from the main story's linear structure, but before Man of Honor's changes, it largely functioned as just a collection of disparate activities. Now, Free Ride appears to deliver a stronger purpose, with Salieri's warehouse effectively becoming a new hub where you can collect a range of assignments, accept additional challenges, and earn rewards through a more structured progression loop. The mode's tighter direction, alongside stronger incentives, should make the Old Country's extracurricular story activities significantly more meaningful here. No longer are these lightweight diversions, but genuine reasons to keep returning. The new challenges expect you to have mastered the base game. Through limited ammunition, an emphasis on stealth and silent approaches, and higher likelihood for mission success if you balance careful planning with quick reactions, Mafia: The Old Country rarely lets you brute force your way through encounters. In charting Enzo's rise, you learn how to adapt alongside managing the game's combat systems for maximum efficiency. Now, Man of Honor isn't interested in replacing that formula, instead bringing more difficult challenges to test the mechanics that you already understand. Sure, you'll lock into familiar scenarios, tense infiltration, brutal firefights, white-knuckle car chases, but this DLC makes them all the more punishing. However, this isn't an arbitrary difficulty spike. No, the expansion aims to reward your experience by imploring you to apply everything you've already learned into more demanding situations. Jobs give existing traversal mechanics new uses. Throughout the Old Country's campaign, Enzo regularly swaps between automobiles, horseback travel, and on-foot exploration as missions take him through Valle Dorata's rustic towns, countryside, and winding foothills. However, those traversal mechanics largely exist to support the game's carefully scripted objectives, nothing more. Now, Man of Honor is poised to broaden the purpose of traversal through a suite of new jobs handed to you by Salieri. Rather than just driving from point A to point B, you'll use familiar vehicles, and a handful of new ones, to uncover hidden caches, discover hidden routes, transport cargo, and tow valuable automobiles, all while dealing with any rival gangs that attempt to halt your progress. As a result, what the expansion appears to be doing is broadening the utility of existing traversal systems without reinventing the wheel. And what's more, it gives you more ways to engage with Sicily beyond what the main campaign can offer. New weapons push beyond the base game's grounded combat.
Ibutana! I know you killed him! You know nothing! Me!
Combat in the Old Country was grounded by its restraint, with ammunition that couldn't be wasted, stealth that oftentimes proved reliable, and the Sicilian Mafia's iconic knives functioning as practical tools rather than extravagant power weapons. That's all set to change in Man of Honor, with a collection of new weapons and charms designed to empower you in battle. The standout addition is the Rimbalzu throwing knife, which can ricochet between enemies, allowing you to execute multiple silent takedowns from a single throw. This shift makes sense tonally. The base game introduces Enzo as a vulnerable, resource-conscious fighter. Thus, the expansion adds more capable and inventive tools to your arsenal. Still, despite all the extras, Man of Honor doesn't appear to be abandoning its stealth-focused foundation. It just gives you fresh ways to overcome familiar hurdles. The reward system extends existing customization. Character progression in the Old Country means unlocking new weapons, knives, charms, clothing, vehicles, and horses, giving tangible benefit during combat and traversal, as well as personalizing Enzo himself. In a way, those rewards reflect Enzo's growing status within the Torrisi family. So, instead of introducing entirely separate paths for growth, Man of Honor embellishes the progression systems which already exist. Completing Salieri's jobs and challenges, for instance, earns denarii that can be exchanged for exclusive outfits, weapons, mounts, and more. Crucially, these rewards aren't just purely cosmetic, but can introduce game-changing perks. For example, new charms, such as the Dolce Morte, which makes defeated enemies occasionally drop status-affecting fruit, will encourage different approaches to combat and stealth. Valle Dorata is being used more fully. Valle Dorata is undoubtedly one of the Old Country's greatest strengths, but despite its richness, it remained underutilized. You see, the campaign's linear structure meant many of its picturesque locations became a backdrop merely to pass through. Despite its impressive detail, atmosphere, and authenticity, predetermined missions left large swaths of the landscape ignored. To rectify this, Man of Honor aims to fill the existing map with additional activities and points of interest. Wanted posters, stunt jumps, sulfur truck objectives, hidden collectibles, and entirely new locations all encourage you to revisit areas you may have previously driven straight through, or to venture off the beaten path entirely. Rather than expand the map's overall size, this expansion makes use of the existing real estate, ensuring Valle Dorata feels more interactive as a result. So, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.